He is the author of many books, including Roman Spectacle on the Rio Grande, Borderland, Animal Fights at the Turn of the Century. He's written a book about... Now, this is mostly... Bradley, are you there?
Yep. So can I preface this by saying that my expertise is that I own an account to like old newspapers, like an old newspaper website. So the whole thing I do is I just look up and see if these fights have happened before. I'm not an expert. I'm just good
It is
at
the most
Googling
Brad
things.
Folsom thing of all time that we set something up as like, boy, he's an expert. He really, he's poured his
He's
heart.
like, I got
He's like, I don't know. I just have a membership.
What do you think an expert is?
Right.
Yeah.
Think of
the
anyone
thing
you
is-
think of as an expert on anything. And
Do
all
you think
they do
Adam
is have an
Schefter
account.
has... how many downs has he played?
Yeah.
We try to
my-
hype you up. Oh, no, I probably suck.
My contention is that you don't need to be an expert if this stuff has happened before. So like people always have these debates, who would win between this animal and this animal, and they're arguing. And my thought is you don't have to see if you don't have to argue because it's happened before. Like the Romans threw just about every animal in a cage with one another. So you can look back and see it then. So
Yeah,
again, my expertise.
Yeah, your expertise,
just-
at least your book was more about elephants fighting bulls.
Lions
or,
fighting bears.
Yeah.
But not
So I've seen
as much about
most-
humans against an animal. Or many humans against one animal.
Yeah, and I should probably say that right out is that obviously 100 humans versus a gorilla hasn't happened before, and not that many gorilla fights have happened before because humans didn't really know about gorillas. I mean, like some remote African tribes did, but they didn't write anything down. The Romans didn't know about gorillas. Like the first, yeah, they didn't. I would have thought they would have. The first reference we have to gorillas is a Greek ship in like 400 BC, something like that, went around Africa, and they said they found these hairy creatures they called gorillas. Well, we don't even think they're gorillas. We just think they were just hairy people. But that's it. Like that's the only reference. And then the Romans never imported them to fight in the Colosseum or anything. So the first actual like scientific evidence we have is I think 1848. So we're operating on a short time span, and they're really rare animals. Like there's not that many of them, and so like they're really expensive. So people aren't going to put them up in fights with humans or other animals very much because they're so expensive.
It does beg the question, what would the Romans do if Glorilla showed up? Would they stone her to death immediately, or would she become their king?
I think probably the stoning, more likely, for hip-hop sensation Glorilla. 1848, huh? That's interesting. I would have thought it would have come up sometime in the exploration, but I guess you're just kind of skipping Africa. Like if you're a Western explorer, you're not... Yeah, that's it, huh?
White people didn't go very much to Central Africa until the mid-1800s because they died. Like there's just these malaria and stuff are rampant, and
AIDS,
snake bites.
I want to stop
snake
you there,
bites,
Dan.
sure.
Okay, so we don't have a ton of evidence to go on here, but what are we thinking? Like, and I think we need to set the parameters, no weapons, and the humans can organize beforehand.
Well, so we don't have like a lot of accounts. We do have accounts where like gorillas escaped their enclosure or they got mad at their trainers and started fighting them. And we have a bunch of those. And I'll give you a couple examples. Like there's in 1902, a gorilla got mad because his trainer, he brought his wife. And apparently the stories in the newspaper go that the gorilla got jealous of the man because he started liking the woman or some crap. I don't know. But then he attacked. He attacked the trainer, and the trainer only had something called a training fork, which I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's like a
taser stun gun,
essentially, but with like a fork at the end of it. But this guy fought this gorilla, looks like it's about 300 pounds, and they essentially fought each other to the death. Like the gorilla bit out the guy's huge chunks of the guy's flesh, disemboweled him. But the guy with the fork managed to stab the gorilla enough times to kill him. But again, that's an armed human. Another instance where an armed human killed him, like 1960, a bunch of people on safari watched a game warden fight one with a machete for an hour. The human won that one. There was another one where a human won with a club, essentially. But the vast majority of these times, the gorilla, even with a weapon, is going to win. Like, let me get another example of it. Zookeeper in, oh no, here's one. A
Kevin
sailor.
James.
Game changer.
Game changer. Thank you, Bradley.
So a zookeeper, a sailor in like 1930, they're transporting a gorilla from, I guess, Africa to Malaysia or something. And the sailor's just teasing him. He's sitting there in a cage. The gorilla busts out, and the sailor's able to like keep the gorilla from killing him for like 2 minutes. But then fellow sailors come along, but they beat the gorilla with a like sailing equipment, like I can't remember
Anchor
the name
or
of it,
something.
anchor or some crap. So again, they're using a weapon. But all these other times where humans are fighting them one-on-one, the gorilla will literally bite chunks out of their head. Before I started looking this up, I didn't realize how vicious the gorilla's teeth were.
Oh no.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. So we've had gorillas fight other animals, like pit bulls, anacondas. They've thrown them in there with.
Where?
One escape. So these are all in zoos. Like,
Okay.
what will happen? Oh, I'm sorry. The pit bull one was actually a show they put on. There's 2 instances. One in 1898. One was in Louisiana. I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah.
But they put it in with a pit bull, and the gorilla just grabbed the pit bull and basically bit its back and like broke its back. Another instance, it bit into its skull and killed the pit bull that way. So they killed him in that manner. The anaconda, I think he just basically ripped the anaconda apart, which you can imagine.
Was that a better day when we could have that as entertainment?
Feels like
There's a million pit bulls.
I know.
It's just one.
There aren't that many gorillas though.
Who really thought the
But we don't
could contend with the gorilla though?
No.
Well, I
we
mean,
should do
it was
this
on Twitter
Just
that
so
day.
we know.
Say that again, Brad?
I agree with Dan that we need to do it at least once for every animal combination, and then once that's done, it's settled. We don't have to have the debate anymore. So again,
Well, scientists would say we should probably do it a few more times just to make sure.
Could be a fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There
think
you go.
I think if we were to, I don't know. I've always felt like we should have a little league, a little animal fighting league.
Mm-hmm.
Little AFL.
just for science.
Yeah, like little divisions.
It would do very well.
They let Norm have horse racing, and they won't let us have this.
I mean, in this parallel universe, if we could do this right, it would be more popular than the Super Bowl.
Like how seriously, and I love animals. As you know, I don't generally eat them.
Uh-huh.
But
Yes.
if we're allowing the eating of the killing, the breeding and killing of animals just for food,
Mm-hmm.
what's the difference? What
There
are we doing
isn't
here?
one. It's optics.
We wouldn't have.
eat the gorilla after.
I'm not
the
saying
Romans
I don't
would
know
do
what,
that.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Romans ate a gorilla. I thought they didn't ever hear of a
not
gorilla.
the gorillas,
Yeah.
but the other animals. They like as soon as they were done, they'd throw it out to the poor people and they could eat it.
That's what
Same
they do
thing
in
with-
Spain.
you
That's
go.
what they do in Spain.
Yep.
They'll tell you like, hey, don't feel bad. This is
So it's a
feeding the
socialist
favelas.
type thing. You're helping out
That's right.
those less fortunate.
That's right.
That's great.
So how
takes
many
the masses, feeds the masses. It's the bread and circuses all in one, basically.
how many dudes unarmed who are, let's say, I don't know, decent, average? Like how many dudes do we need?
So what I've found in all these animal fights, again, like I don't have the data for the gorillas, but it seems like weight is the big thing. So you're going to have to get a weight advantage. So I imagine, I don't know, but then you also have to account for the gorilla's going to take a couple people out before you can just start smothering them. My guess would be it's going to take at least 10 average dudes. I think easily 100 because you can just start laying on them. I might be going out there a little bit here, but I bet if you got like 3 Mountains or Larry Allens or Tyron Smiths or something like that, I think 3 of them might be able to do it. But I think you're looking at least 10 guys. I think there's no question with 100 guys.
No
based
question.
On
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I think with 100, that's generally the consensus I've seen from experts in the field. One of which I heard on a CNN little quick hitty podcast that Dan turned me on to. And on the weekend, on CNN's 5 Things, instead of being like, we're trying to see if Rwanda will take all these Mexicans and the economy explodes. On the weekend, they do 5 good things.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this week it was let's talk the debate everyone's discussing online. And their expert also agreed 100 too much.
That's primatologist and the chief science officer at the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund, Tara Stawinski.
The advantages that humans have in this scenario are a couple-fold. One, just sheer numbers. There's 100 of them, right? So they can come up with all different types
Great
of
point.
strategies. They can put one front line forward while some are resting. They can work together and collaborate. They can take breaks while the gorilla is basically fighting for its life this entire time.
That's a good take. All right. I like it. I like this. I also like this NPR style
I
approach
love that this is
to a
on
tweet
this
that
show.
originally had the N-word in it. 100 ins. And now they're talking about it, but they're not done.
Ultimately, Tara thinks the humans have a better chance of winning, but hopes the battle doesn't happen in real life.
Now we're going to get into the NPR part.
Yeah.
I hope nobody's going to beat up a gorilla with their 99 friends in real life.
Their nickname is actually Gentle Giant. And what's interesting is that all this size and strength, they're vegetarians. So it's not used to go out and, kill prey to eat. Obviously, if they need to defend their family or if they're feeling threatened, they can bring it on. But Gentle Giant is a much more appropriate nickname for a gorilla than sort of the fighting animal that we see represented a lot of the time.
So while this is a fun debate to have over the dinner table or some cocktails, she says we're talking about the wrong fight.
A lot of people don't realize that they are critically endangered. And so the real fight for them is their fight for survival. And how can we support them in this fight?
Yeah. How can you support them in this fight instead of doing what you're doing, which is dreaming about stone cold stunning them?
This is
While you're
Super Bowl Radio Row. You're trying to ask John Elway what it was like to win that Super Bowl. He just wants to tell you about eugenics. Or
It's 100% that. Actually, they're endangered.
Hitler
so
was
humans
also a
would do well.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that. So
while you're thinking
Yeah.
about RKOing, whatever the gorilla name, what's a good one? Harambe?
Harambe.
Yeah, do it for him.
All right.
the one thing about that is really quick is you mentioned the vegetarian thing. That actually makes my main animal fighting strategy. It nullifies it. So the fact that they break stalks to eat makes their forearms really tough. But more importantly, the fact they have to chew these big stalks means they have powerful jaws, which means they have really powerful neck muscles, which I think would prevent humans from choking it.
Because that's the normal move?
Pretty easily. I think so.
Go
Yeah,
for the
and
eyes.
Go for the eyes, I guess, but then you're risking your mouth or your hand getting bit.
What about if a
First, bloody
human
guys are.
starts playing with the gorilla's butthole? Would that help?
Ooh, great question.
Yes, yeah, that definitely would. I have no evidence whatsoever. I just know that would help. The one other thing I would say is that of the animals that have beaten a gorilla, so you had a cougar in 1948 in a Spokane zoo. They broke the cage open between them, and it was like a 130-pound cougar versus like a 300-pound gorilla. The cougar won.
Wow.
The one that might crack the secret to getting the gorilla was a chimpanzee in a gorilla fighting. And apparently the chimpanzee would just go up and smack the gorilla, and then the gorilla would chase after it. The chimpanzee would run away until the gorilla just got exhausted and just basically went to sleep. So
I like that.
if we can get somebody fast, JJ Barea or something in there, start smacking the gorilla and running around, then maybe he goes to sleep and we got him.
No, I like the Tyreek Hill idea. Just one guy who's really fast.
Tyreek Hill makes a little more just pulling JJ Barea out for a guy who's fast is an odd.
I knew what he was doing.
Okay, I've never.
Water bug.
I was trying to think vertical as well. In Tyreek Hill, more
You want to scat back.
straight down the field or whatever.
I don't
Yeah.
know, Brad.